This may look like standard commando training, but there's a difference. Future commando force concepts are being tested.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, so we are in the year 2021, which is pretty cool to say. Again, I think the year 2020 was pretty rough. I'm not sure how well of a shape the world would be in if we were in the year 2020 for any longer. So hopefully 2021 is a little bit better, but I guess we'll have to see. Now, today's video is something awesome. It's something that I want to check out for a while. This was actually uploaded a couple months ago, maybe like 3 months ago actually, but this is really interesting. So I know the Royal Marine Commandos were doing a whole like reform as far as getting new equipment, trying new tactics. I'm not sure if they were really messing with the organization of their units, but this is about the future commando force concept. So I think in this video, they're testing out more of small unit tactics, which is more akin to what you would expect commandos to be doing. So this looks really cool. Again, I think in this video, we can see some of their new equipment as well, but this is from Forces TV, of course. A lot of awesome content coming from Forces TV. So I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate y'all letting me react to your channel without copyright striking me or anything crazy. So yeah, this looks like a really cool video, so let's check it out.
Marines from 40 Commando trying to find the enemy.
I don't know why that sounded so weird, but okay, so that was that introduction. All right, so let's check out the equipment so far. So we can see they have their SA-80s or L-85s, whatever you want to call it. We have high-cut helmets. I'm not sure if that's the new high-cut helmet that they're actually using, but it looks pretty new. Peltors, I think that's pretty standard. I'm not sure if that's anything crazy new, but their body armor doesn't look to be the new body armor, so I'm not sure if they're actually using any of the new equipment. And yeah, so I think right now they're just practicing new tactics. So let's press on. Oh, okay, that's a pretty close engagement right there.
This may look like standard commando training, but there's a difference. Future commando force concepts are being tested.
Okay, so they're breaking contact, it looks like.
Well, here at Bovington,
all right, so let's. I'm not going to try and pause it too much, but let's try and break this down again. So we can see this is a really close engagement. So with a close engagement like this, either you can, try and push through it. Ideally, you try and push through it depending on how many people there are. Or if you can break contact, which basically means to like tactically withdraw. If you can do that, then that's also a route you can take. But you can see here, he's shooting and then these guys are sort of peeling back, kind of like a zipper. So if you can imagine the formation like this, they're sort of peeling back like a zipper. So, okay. So I'm not sure if that's any new tactics or, I mean, it doesn't seem like anything crazy new, but really cool small team engagement.
There are around 60 personnel from 40 Commando. They're split into 3 troops, all trying to find and fight each other. Okay. They're experimenting with some new equipment and alternative team structures.
Okay.
Marines
that sounds like fun.
need to get used to working in formations of varying numbers. Traditionally, they have worked in sections of 8, but now teams of different sizes could be broken down to smaller, bespoke groups for specialist operations. Rather than being deployed from the UK, now Marines might be expected to be permanently on a ship in the Middle East or the Mediterranean, or serving on an aircraft carrier. This is so groups of high readiness Marines can be in a forward position for missions at a moment's notice.
Okay, so, I mean, in the U.S. Marine Corps, you have people on ship all the time. We have something called the Marine Expeditionary Unit, that's basically our unit that we would have on ship, pretty much on standby to react to anything in that general region. So the MU is what we have for that, but as far as having every Marine on a ship, that would be a little bit hard to work out as far as logistics. So again, they are commandos. It's a lot, it's much smaller of a force, and they are going to be deploying in different ways than you would see U.S. Marines deploying from. And of course, if they are working in small team operations, then it might be a little bit easier to facilitate that. But yeah, I wonder what they think about that. But this is 40 Commando. I think 42 Commando is more specialized with maritime warfare. So I guess they're just doing like a whole reform to get them a little bit more maritime-y, if you will.
We're just trialling everything. So, like regards to like small man teams, instead of pushing out as sections, we're going as four-man teams, and sort of seeing how it works and how we could deal with casualties and stuff like that. So yeah, it's still a bit of trial and error at the moment.
There are also some very nuanced changes. Troops on the ground will have more autonomy when they carry out tasking, so they can work in a more focused way, tailoring the expertise that are needed for whatever mission they are sent on. For these Marines, it's a chance to contribute and develop future commando force.
As Marines, our input from exercises like this and others is really being used to help form the concept. So you can use what goes well, what goes badly, and essentially build that into what we hope to be a really great future Commando Force concept over the next coming years.
Okay, so yeah, it makes sense. Whenever the military is trying to test out anything new, as far as like new, structure for any organization, new equipment, anything like that, there's going to be strenuous testing to see if it works. Now, I will say working in 4 teams, it's nice for commando units. However, if you take one casualty, that's 25% of the force out of the fight. And, when you do finish, if you do, engage the enemy and take them down, that's still like 1, maybe 2 more people having to tend to that injured person. So, it is a trade-off. You do get to be a little bit more maneuverable. It's a lot easier to be undetected, especially for commandos if you're working in small teams. It's more akin to like what I've done in the Army's reconnaissance platoon, because we work in small teams. But again, if you do take a casualty, that's pretty much it. It's almost like a write-off for that person. And it sounds kind of bad, but one person going down can easily compromise the mission if everyone is focused on that.
Not used on this exercise, but coming soon, the Marines will have new uniforms and new weapons. Autonomous technology is already being tested and integrated too. But despite the transformation, there are still fundamental skills Marines need that will never change. If you're hunting the enemy, making sure the enemy can't find you.
Those basic skills are essentially the foundation that everything's built upon. So there's no use having fancy kit or the equipment if you don't have those basics drilled down. So
it's a very good point.
This week is essentially to trial future Commando Force concepts, and the especially important part is it's force on force, and that's where not being seen really comes into play. So as you can see now, we're cammed up, we have cam cream on our faces. When we are closer to enemy, we'll cam up parts of our webbing, parts of our plate carriers as well. As we're force on force, it can be really easy to get seen, get pinged.
Yeah, so that's true. Of course, vegetation and camouflage is a big thing. We can see they're not really utilizing vegetation, and looking at their helmets, it might not be as easy because this guy right here doesn't have like a helmet cover. You can kind of use the bungees. That's not really their intended purpose to veg up, but it might be harder to veg up if you don't have a helmet cover, because normally you'll have helmet covers that have like slits so you can put like vegetation in there, or you can have like a camo band. So there's certain ways to do it, but it might be a little bit harder with those specific helmets. But I like how he was saying, we're not testing out any of the tactics with the special equipment just yet, because we need to see if we can actually operate doing it with normal equipment. Because fancy equipment is nice. It makes it a lot easier, makes it a little bit safer, a little bit more efficient. However, you need to be able to do it at the bare minimum equipment of what you might be asked to operate with. So that makes a lot of sense. Very good point there.
And just one small mistake can essentially lead to your entire operation being disrupted.
Looks a lot like Georgia right there.
Experimentation will continue as future Commando Force pursues a more agile and lethal capability for the UK.
All right. Yeah, so it's a very fine balance as far as trying to minimize how many people you are sending out on certain teams. Again, commandos, they have specific missions, pretty different from what I'm used to. But more akin, again, to what I did with Army Reconnaissance. And I can say working in small teams is really awesome, because if everyone on the team is completely switched on, then you don't have to worry so much about discipline or tactics or professionalism. Everyone is going to know how to work in that team and know what they're doing. However, you do have the risk of, if there is a casualty, then it's going to be hard to continue pressing the mission. And you also don't have as much firepower just because there's not that many people. So it is a weird balancing act that they need to work out, but it is cool that they're actually trying new things. And of course, they're not trying to have all the fancy stuff just yet. They're trying to do it at the bare minimum to see if those individual operators can do the job, which again, it makes a lot of sense when you really think about it. But yeah, that training area looked very similar to what I'm used to doing. It's always fun doing like those force on force things, especially when you're talking about small teams, because you could potentially go days and days without finding each other, but all of a sudden you're walking within 10 meters of each other or something. So it can get very hard to not get complacent if you don't see anyone after a while. But yeah, that was pretty solid. Again, you can see they did like that close engagement and they're breaking contact and stuff. So yeah, cool training. I'd like to see more about this in the future, sort of do like a follow-up to see if they actually do implement the smaller teams. And of course, if you guys are in the Royal Marines, definitely let me know how that's coming as far as the testing. If you were a part of any of this testing, let me know how it was. If there's anything cool that I missed, or if there's any other cool videos you guys would like to recommend, I would love to check it out. It's awesome seeing the Royal Marines get a little bit more modernized as far as getting some really high-speed equipment and testing out these cool small unit tactics. But again, I do hope you guys enjoy the video. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. Feel free to hit the thumbs up if you liked the video. Feel free to subscribe. I do appreciate y'all. Thank you for supporting the channel. And yeah, let's hope the year 2021 is a little bit better. But yeah, that's it for this video. So I will see y'all in the next one.